Well, welcome to another video. My name is Dr. Sherrie Walton, and I am your master book writing coach. So in this video, we are talking about the 3 tips that you need to help you write your book this year. Yes, you heard me. I am calling to you to tell you that it is time to write your book this year. No more excuses, no more talking about it, no more rehearsing in your head, no more stopping and starting and stopping and starting. We're not doing that anymore. So I want to give you these tips today because I talk to a lot of authors, a lot of potential authors, a lot of people that want to write the books, but they are stuck. It's not uncommon to be stuck when you're writing your book, especially when it's your first time. It's not uncommon to be frustrated with the process or to feel as if you don't have enough time or if you just had enough words or maybe if I knew how to put this all together. Don't worry. That's why I'm here. I want you to keep checking back to my page because I am putting together these tips. I'm giving you the information that you need to make sure that you can seamlessly and effortlessly put together a book this year. Let me say that again. Effortlessly. Tongue got tied a little bit. Put together this book, your book this year. So, 3 tips. Let's start with tip number 1. And I want you to think about it. As I talk about these tips, a lot of times when I'm telling you things, it's not stuff that you haven't heard before, but it's stuff that you haven't implemented. Let that sit on that for just a moment. You may know some of the things to do, but to actually do it and get it done is a totally different story. So let's go ahead and hit it. Tip number 1 to writing your book this year is to create a daily routine. I always like to compare writing a book to building muscles, right? There's certain things called muscle memory. So in order to write your book, I always suggest authors write every single day. Yes, despite that busy schedule, despite that busy life, and trust me, I understand what a busy life is. I am married. I have 3 children that are in school. We have a dog. We have a rabbit. I live in another country right now. I totally understand busy, but I do understand that if you don't make this book a priority and a part of your daily routine, you are not going to get it done. So you're like, okay, so what does this mean? So every day, I want you to put it in your calendar at the beginning of the week when you plan your week. I want you to pick a time that you are going to write your book. I want you to pick a time where it's uninterrupted, right? I want you to pick a time, maybe if it's before, if you are a morning person, then go ahead and pick a morning time. For me, I like to write at 5 o'clock in the morning because I'm a morning person. So if that's not you, don't worry. You know, I know a lot of you may be night owls. So if you know that you get a burst of energy at 11 o'clock, at 10 o'clock at night, go ahead and pick that time. I'm not going to tell you whether you should do morning or night. I'm just saying to make sure you pick a time. Now, the time that you pick needs to be uninterrupted. It needs to be a space that no one will bother you. And trust me, like I said, I have kids and I understand the priorities and things. It needs to be a place where you are alone and it's quiet. That also means you can't take the cell phone with you. Do not disturb on your phone needs to be a part of that writing time, right? So a quiet place, a consistent time, a place where you can sit and be free. Another thing is I want you to think about the time where you have the most energy, like you have a burst of energy so your creativity can flow. The worst thing that you can do is try to write your book while you're tired. Try to write your book while you are frustrated. Try to write your book while you have everything that's going on. It's not going to work, and that's probably why you have not been able to write your book just yet. So remember, I want you now to set a time at the beginning of the week for every day until you get this book written. Now, my goal is to help you write this book in 90 days or less. That's right, I said 90 days or less because honestly, it only takes 40 hours to write a book. So if you think about it, if you spent 40 hours in 1 week dedicated to writing your book, you can actually write your book. So let's go ahead and say you want to break this down. How many hours do you need to write a week in order to have this book written for you? I want you to download. I'm going to have a little worksheet attached to this that I want you to download to break down how many hours a day, how many days, what's the time frame that you need to do to put this book together. So that was tip number 1. Tip number 2, right? Because now you have the consistent day, time, it's on your schedule, you've made it a priority. I want you to write your first draft. I don't know if that sounds like rocket science or anything, but writing your first draft is the hardest part about writing your book. Now, you may say, okay, that sounds simple, Dr. Sherrie. I've already tried to write my first draft and I haven't been able to write my first draft. You know why? Because you have not written the first draft all the way through. Let me tell you what you're doing. You're writing chapter 1, you're deleting chapter 1. You're starting chapter 1 again. You're erasing it because you're critiquing yourself and you're criticizing everything you wrote and you're saying, this doesn't even make sense. Write the first draft. When I say write the first draft, I mean from chapter 1 to chapter 12, or how many chapters that you're going to write. Complete the draft before you read it. And I said that very slow and distinctly because that is where so many writers get stuck. They're so busy, and I'm saying so many writers, I'm not talking about you, right? They're so busy trying to make the first draft perfect that they never complete a draft of the book. Let me tell you, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of authors, and I have to tell you, your first draft is probably gonna suck. I'm just telling you the truth. You have to write the first draft in order to be able to clean up the first draft. But if you never complete the first draft, I can tell you, you're never gonna complete the book. So, tip number 2, write and write and write some more until you have let everything out that you need to say in accordance to the outline. We'll talk about that in another video. But once you get it all out, then you can start to critique. Then you can start to clean it up. Then you can start having other people give you your opinion, which I don't really vouch for much until the book is completed. That's another story for another day, for another video. But anyways, once you write the draft, one thing I like about completing the first draft, you're going to feel such a sense of accomplishment that you're going to want to get through draft 2 and draft 3. Because writing the first draft is actually just the first step in getting the book done. So let's say tip number 1, create a routine, a daily routine. Tip number 2, write the first draft, complete it, get it done, get it out, put it together. Tip number 3, let's go ahead and dive in. I want you to write a date that you are going to complete this book and have it ready. Setting goals. All of this is a part of writing a book. And I know you may say this, I just want to write my book. But if you don't properly plan, if you don't set goals, if you don't put deadlines, if you don't make yourself commit and be consistent and show up every day, you're not going to write your book. So in my free ebook, Write It, I have a statement that says that you are committed to writing your book and you're going to complete your book by, and you have a date that you're going to put. So if you have not gotten my free ebook, go ahead, jump to the website. The information is at the bottom of this video. You'll also see it in the description. It is a free ebook to help you write your book in 90 days. And within that, you are going to make a declaration statement that this is going to get done. And I always like that saying that says, from my mouth to God's ears. You have to make the commitment. You have to say, I'm gonna get it done. And isn't that like normal though? Like when you set goals in life, you put a date, you have your short-term goals and your long-term goals. I'm teaching you about your short-term goals, because this is a short-term goal, baby. You're gonna get this done in 90 days. But I hope these tips are very helpful, because once you think about it and you start thinking about your book in bite-sized pieces, it doesn't seem so overwhelming. I love it when I work with new authors and they get that first draft written and they say, I did it. Yes. I tell them, go out and celebrate. That's a sense of accomplishment. But think about it. How are you going to feel when you finally get that first draft written? How are you going to feel when this goal, when this dream, this idea that you have, that you're going to share to the world, is finally going to be manifested? How good are you going to feel about yourself when you think about the countless lives that are going to be changed just because you were obedient to your assignment and you produced your book? This book that you're writing, this thing that's in your spirit, is so much bigger than you. And I want you to start to take it seriously. I remember when I started writing my book, Help, I'm Pregnant with Purpose, I started to envision every day the amount of lives, the people that will be changed because I put my experiences on paper. Now, it doesn't matter what type of book you're writing. You can be writing a book about yourself. You can be writing a memoir. You can be writing a self-help book. You can be writing a business book. This book, whatever it is that you're writing, is going to help and impact so many people. So if you take these 3 tips and you start applying them today, you hear that? Start applying them today. Your book is going to be written. And if there is anything that I can help you with, please keep checking back to watch these videos. Connect with my team. It is my assignment to help you birth your assignment. So I hope that these tips have been helpful to you. I hope that you're going to say, you know what? I am committed to the process. I am writing a best-selling book, and it's going to be written by this date. And you make the commitment to yourself. You make the commitment to your legacy. You make the commitment to the lives that are waiting for you to show up. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video today. I hope that it was helpful, and go ahead and share it with a friend. I'll see you in the next video as we unlock ways to write your best-selling book in 90 days. I'll see you soon.